Wednesday morning, and there are new details in the Charlie Kirk murder case to be revealed as we now hit day 3 of the preliminary hearing for Tyler Robinson. He is the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk, and proceedings will get underway at 3 o'clock Eastern after an explosive round of testimony on Tuesday. News Nation national correspondent Nancy Liu is there in Provo, Utah for us. Nancy, some pretty interesting new evidence coming to light. What were the highlights from yesterday?
Yeah, that's right, Marky. And one of the biggest developments, testimony about Tyler Robinson's personal and political views. Those were views that were opposite of Charlie Kirk's on issues such as LGBTQ rights. This is the first time we are hearing the state bring up a potential motive for the shooting. We also saw new surveillance footage of the suspect on the Utah Valley University campus in the hours and minutes before and after the assassination. A former agent with the State Bureau of Investigation testified about how he tracked Tyler Robinson in these videos. He gave a detailed account of Robinson's movements and a change of clothing, noting a ditching of a backpack, and then just minutes before Charlie Kirk is shot, he's seen limping his way up a stairwell. You can see that here. It's suspected he had either a weapon part or the rifle in a pant leg. The investigator said in a later video after the shooting, Robinson is seen returning to campus and having some sort of interaction with an officer.
But there was something about the interaction that made him make a note of the license plate of the vehicle. And then subsequently, when information was available that that vehicle or a vehicle matching the description of that was involved in the incident, he ran the information that he had obtained from the stop and was able to identify that it was registered to Mr. Robinson, and he had in fact had contact with Mr. Robinson on the morning of September 11th, 2025.
And the former agent credits that interaction with helping to identify Robinson as the suspect. Marky?
Nancy, thank you. Let me bring in federal attorney Kelly Hyman for more on this. Kelly, day 2 was a huge day. It focused all on that surveillance video. There was also that fight over a letter that prosecutors say shows motive. What's standing out to you so far?
Yesterday was a powerful day for the prosecution. Let's remember that the prosecution has the burden, but it's also important to remember the standard in this case. This is a preliminary hearing, so the standard is not beyond a reasonable doubt. It is a lower standard. So what really stood out to me was the surveillance video. We had an officer on the witness stand that spent over 20 hours going through the surveillance video and substantiated the fact that the defendant was there 4 times before and going through the school, having lunch there and looking at the surrounding, and then coming back, and then after the shooting coming back. That really helps substantiate the prosecution's case that this was in fact a premeditated, planned murder.
Yeah, they went through all of these videos, just angle by angle here. Prosecutors starting to lay out an alleged timeline of Tyler Robinson's movements on and around campus, and also some interactions that they claim he had. Is the defense now facing a real uphill battle in getting this discredited or thrown out, you think?
From the defense standpoint, it's twofold. It's one, to find out exactly what these witnesses are going to say, to lock them down on their testimony, because if this case does go to trial, then they can lock down the witnesses, the officers, and have exactly what they are going to say, and then poke holes. DNA is going to be crucial for this case because DNA is so important to help substantiate the link between the defendant and the crime and the crime weapons. And these are serious counts. We look at the counts that are, for us. These are aggravated murder, felony charges, and the death penalty is on the table for this case.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our new.
All right, everybody, welcome in to the 26 people that just came on and watched me on YouTube. Thanks for coming over and supporting my platform tonight. It has been a while. It's been a while, and I'm seeing this up on the screen here. It says 100% I believe Tyler did this. The evidence is strong, and we're going to get into that tonight. I have a nice presentation for you this evening. And we're also going to get into some videos tonight and go through this. When this first initially broke, when Charlie Kirk was initially shot and murdered, I followed this case and I reported on it for about a week. There wasn't much movement. We weren't really hearing much about it. A lot of the hearings were closed, and now we got kind of this last 3 days in public display. And today we're left with the cliffhanger. We're left with a cliffhanger today, and the judge said that they will rule down the road here to find out if this is going to go to trial. I don't see why it wouldn't go to trial. In my observations here over the last couple of days and just hearing, and believe me, I know there's a ton of conspiracy theory following around this case, and a lot of people think that Tyler Robinson's a patsy. I don't know. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it tonight and start talking about it. I think there's enough evidence here for this to go to trial. But there's a lot of weird things that have been surrounding this. So, but we'll get into all that tonight. Here's a little life update on me. I have been extremely busy. It's pretty much taken me away from my channel, not only busy in my regular life. Well, yeah, I mean, busy in my regular life, but I've been working on a lot of things within myself. I think I needed to pull away from online activity just for a little while. I've been doing a lot of self-healing and working on myself. My mental health, my physical health is phenomenal. Over the last couple of years, I've had high blood pressure, like really bad. And, went to my regular physician for that and got on medication. And it's kind of a hereditary thing. And today, I took my blood pressure. It was 108/67. It's pretty fucking phenomenal. And I feel great. And I've lost about 20 pounds, weight that needed to come off, and just living a much a much healthier lifestyle, mentally and physically. And it's been kind of that type of summer for me. I really wanted to work on my health and get myself back to, who I was pre-Karen Reed trial. And I think that I lost a lot of motivation with a lot of things, and I was getting kind of burnt out on the channel. Obviously, we know all the shit that's been going on behind the scenes, within all these channel wars that are going on. And it's shit that just doesn't interest me. It was like the other day, I had heard something, one of these fucking people that think they know me was saying that my life is in turmoil. You know nothing about me. You know nothing about my life. You know nothing about who I am offline. You've never even had the opportunity to even have those types of conversations with me. So how the fuck would you know if my life is in turmoil? It's very much the opposite of that. So many great things have been happening to me over the last couple of weeks. And if you want to call it karma, well, karma is definitely repaying me in this very moment. I am very happy in my life. I've had a lot of new things that have happened. Again, I've been working on myself, my health, my mental health. And I can't say I feel fucking phenomenal. I feel phenomenal. For these people to go out there and spread all this false information that my life is in turmoil. Where are you getting that from? You don't even know any of the people that are in my life. You don't even interact with them. You don't even communicate with them. Why? Because you fucking might have read something, a false statement on X, or someone reached out and said, oh, he hasn't been making content on his channel. His life must be in turmoil. You know nothing about my personal life. You've known nothing about my personal life. You don't know who I talk to, what I do in my personal life. But I thought that was funny. I find these things hilarious. And believe me, I watch and listen in kind of the dark shadows of the internet, and kind of try to keep up on the shit. But a lot of it is I just don't care. I don't care anymore. It's just laughable to me. But anyway, it was funny because I went on Untwisted Tragedy the other day. I came home and just kind of popped on, and sometimes I'll just look in and go, all right, what are people talking about? And ironically enough, I always find the point when my name comes up in these conversations. And I actually asked Elise for a link, and I went up and spoke my mind a little bit. And I tend to keep kind of quiet about all of this stuff because it just doesn't affect me. You know, these are the people that are doing this and talk about this stuff are people that really have no lives. They don't have interactions with real people. They don't have, you know, bonding relationships and friendships. They don't take care of themselves physically, mentally. They don't strive to be better. They don't get up and actually have a regular job and go to work. I do. I have a regular job. And my job has been phenomenal. It's been going really well. Lots of high praise at work lately. So that's been great. And to sit here and try to make up things about me, about my life is in turmoil. It's just fucking, it's laughable. Like, you know nothing about me. You know nothing of my personal life. You don't know any of the people that I interact with. You don't know the places I go, and you don't know the things I do. So I find it all laughable. Anyway, let's look at the chat really quick, and then we'll get into Charlie Kirk tonight. Let's see. Oh, lots of people are chatting. Let's see. Karen said, I followed you when you first covered it. Yeah. I mean, we popped on right away, and this was a big news cycle when all this stuff was happening. And, you know, I thought it was something to get into and talk about because it's important. It's important. Let's see. Ola says that some people think everyone is a patsy, and that's right. I think there's a lot of evidence here. I mean, we're seeing video, we're seeing text messages, we're seeing the ex-lover video that we're going to play through tonight and talk about that. Karen, thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate that. Chuck says, I follow Candace, but Tyler screwed. I think so as well, too, Chuck. You know, from what I've seen and what I was reading about today, I think it's going to be enough evidence here to bring this to trial. Thank you, Nan. I appreciate it. And so proud of you lately, too. Been doing phenomenal. Chuck says, I've added vitamin potassium to my blood pressure. RX really happened. Awesome. Good to hear. My life is very good. This couldn't be better right now. I actually, you know what? It's better than I deserve. That's what I tell people. Like, oh, how's life? How's things? It's better than I deserve right now. It's going really well. Karen says, Brian, I've missed you so much, but you have to take care of you. Yes. And I miss you guys too. You know, I really do. You know, it's sad because at one point, and, you know, and listen, I look at the reality of it, but you know what? The thing is, there's plenty of content on this channel, and I always hear about like views and money and all this other shit. And that's something I just don't talk about because a YouTube channel is a YouTube channel, and it will go through cycles, and you will have ups and downs and audiences that come and go. And there's turf wars, and people are just shitting on people because they want money and they want views and clicks. And I mean, to me, you know, when these people do this, they say, this is reality. I'm being real with everybody. Are you really? Are you really? Or are you just spinning up an audience for them to pay you? You know, I look at being real would be something to challenge yourself. Why not take on a case like this and talk about it? Why not take on a case that might be happening instead of, you know, dwelling up unnecessary? I mean, the shit has gotten so fucking ridiculous and so ugly. I mean, people are being dragged into court and have to go to court hearings and magistrate hearings, and it's ridiculous. It's fucking stupid. You know, are we adults or are we fucking 15-year-old kids? Seriously, you know, I'm almost 50. I'm 2 years away from 50. You know, I don't have time for those fucking stupid shit. Let's see. Don't listen, Brian. Better than that. Yeah, exactly. And never explain, ignore, of course. Let's see. Karen says, you've given me inspiration. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to find a therapist. Yes, mental health is extremely important. If you follow me on X or Facebook, I actually posted about Daryl Sheets, if you know who that was, Storage Wars. And just recently, he took his life. Rest in peace, Daryl Sheets. And it was about online bullying, you know, and a lot of people have been through that, especially, you know, through this Karen Reed movement, you know, the movement, the community. We always hear these fucking words, community, movement, community. Really? Was there ever really that? Or are you just waiting to turn your knives and your daggers on everybody and stab everybody in the back when you had your moment? That's not a fucking community. You know, that's not, those aren't friends. Those aren't, you know, that's not a real community. You know, you don't do that. But yeah, Daryl Sheets left a letter about online bullying. 67 years old, and ended up taking his life, I assume with a pistol. And that's really it's really sad, because words can hurt people and it can affect people. Online bullying is a very serious thing. I mean, we've heard things through time in history since the internet really broke through, and most recently we've heard a lot of things about people unaliving themselves and taking their lives because of the pressure, or someone that might be bullying them, or whatever. But that stuff is real and it does get to people. And that's why essentially, I took my break. It's hard to ignore sometimes when people are piling shit on you for 10 months, and there was some pretty dark times in my path along that 10 months. And I talked about that on Elisa's show the other day. I had a lot of people that were essentially trying to bury me and bury my channel and bury all the hard work that I've been doing since 2021 with the cases that I follow and the information that I uncover and disclose, and became this big, let's, pile on, LTL media and get the audience away from him so we can have the clicks and views and money and blah, 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 blah. And it got pretty dark for a little while for me. And there was one night, I remember, and I told this story on Elisa's show when I jumped up there the other night. I had this big pile-on, going on my channel, and it just got so brutal that it's like I couldn't even get through a live stream where I had just people attacking me. And the sad thing about it is that there are some cases that need to have attention to them, and certain things talked about, but I couldn't even do that right now, because if I even had that subject matter in my titles, people would just come over and attack me. So it just becomes a point where maybe a certain person or certain subject matter needs attention from very smart people that would like to probably cover this stuff and talk about it. You can't even do it because you're just going to get attacked. So what is the point of doing it? And that's not to benefit me. That's to benefit the people or the subject matter that needs that. But anyway, getting back to my story here, there had been a time that was very, very dark. And when I was back in the studio, and this is really, one of the reasons why I left was one night I was in the studio by myself and I was watching, I just sat down. I had I had two rooms in that studio. I had the main studio, and then I had kind of like a guest area. Nan has been there. Been before. She's come up to the studio quite a few times, and we have like a little common area, where people can sit down, and I had a couch and TV up on the wall, and we could watch TV and shoot the shit and eat food at a table in there. It was very nice setup. But there was one night that I'd gone to the studio and I sat there, and shit was getting pretty heavy. It was getting to me. And I had just gone through some other things in my life, and I sat on that couch, and there was two options that night. My studio was out on Route 1. If you're familiar with this area, it was about a mile from Gillette Stadium out in Rentham, and it was right on Route 1. And there was two options, and this was all a result of the piling on. And there were two options that night. I was going to walk out into traffic and let something or someone hit me, or I was going to walk to the roof and jump off. And I really started to think about it. And I said, is this really worth a few people? And I really dug down deep inside myself that night and pulled myself out of that situation. And I think at that point, I had started to think there was a lot of just bad energy in and around that space in that building. And I had ultimately ended up signing a longer term lease, and I was getting ready to move into a larger room. But because of those attacks and because of the very reputable business that was in that building, I had to make a decision. One, I thought it was a good thing to move out and get out, because I was in a very dark spot mentally at that point. And, you know, I have a history of suicide in my family. My brother killed himself, and I've talked about this before. And I really need to get myself out of that dark space at that point. And again, going back to, you know, I had just signed an extension lease, and I was getting ready, and I'm moving all my shit up in this room, and I got up there and I just said, I can't be here. And I knew the reputable business that was in that building was going to get attacked, because what have we seen? People's jobs attacked, their personal lives attacked, all because we disagree about something else. And people just make up false information. They go, oh, well, yeah, that's got to be the truth. From what that person's saying, it's got to be the truth. So, you know, all this stuff was being made up in the attacks on my channel. And I made the ultimate decision to leave. And it was the best thing that I could have done. And I came back home, and I'm in the corner of my bedroom again. And I'm not embarrassed to say that, because this is where my roots were. But to get myself out of that situation, I think was a good thing. And believe me, it cost me a lot of money to leave. I had to pay my way out of that. I was on the hook for $20,000 because of my lease, and I had to pay a few $1,000s to get out of that situation. But that's when I found mental health. It's when I found mental health. And I've been, you know, going very consistently over the last year and a half, 2 years now, year and a half at least, maybe just over a year and a half, and it has done wonders for me. And if anybody's ever in a situation like that, there's always someone to talk to. And I knew at that point that I had so much more to live for and give back in this world. And I do. You know, I'm not going to let a few fucking people online essentially bury me. Fuck that. You know, that's not worth that. I have so much more self-worth. And I found that through therapy. And I urge everybody, if you're struggling, go into therapy or call 988. Dial 988. There's someone that you can talk to. There's someone that you can find out there. And I am not embarrassed to talk about this stuff. I'm not embarrassed to talk about it on the internet. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for this channel to talk about this, because someone might be in a spot like that. And I've had people, I had a person, a young lady that was in severe alcohol troubles, addiction, quite a few years ago, back during when I was covering Kohberger. And she reached out to me, and I still have the emails. She reached out to me and said, I am so glad that I found your channel, because it's helped me get my life into order. You know, listening to you has helped me get my life into order. And that person found counseling and rehab. And just recently, a couple of months ago, I had emailed them and asked, you know, how have you been? And I think they were close to 2 or 3 years sober now. And that's such a cool thing. To hear that, you know, and it was someone that was a veteran, and she served our country, and she was going down a really bad path. I think we had talked on the phone once or twice before, and I'm glad to hear that her life is better. And I'm glad to hear that I could give her a moment in time, maybe an hour or two away from all of those troubles and the addictions that she was going through, because she was interested in that Brian Kohberger case. And she found my channel talking about that, and it kind of took her away from those problems for quite a while. And that's an awesome, you know, accomplishment to be able to be someone that can be there for someone. And that's, you know, those are the types of things that I've always wanted to do here on this channel, is use my platform for good. And there's people out there that choose to use their platforms to attack people and shit all over people, for people to come in and make sure that they have views and clicks and all that. And if that's what you choose to do, then fucking have fun. But that's something definitely that I never wanted to do here, because to me, it's just a waste of time. it's totally a waste of time. So yeah, I urge everybody, please, if you're having any type of trouble, or you need some help, or you need someone to talk to, you can always dial 988. There's someone there to talk to. There's someone there that can connect you to someone. If you need to even just come here for an hour or 2 hours a day and listen to my ranting over here, please, if that helps take away from your problems for a little while. But I think that everybody kind of needed to hear this. And sometime, I've been kind of keeping a lot in lately, and I tend not to talk a lot about this stuff, but I've been opening up a little bit more lately. So anyway, and this is great. Look at this. We're seeing, look at Heather says, look, my therapist great. My therapist great. Saved my life. Actually saved my life. It's amazing to be here. It really is. It's pretty amazing. Yo, thank you. And thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. And hopefully this inspires some people, or maybe someone says, you know what, I need mental health counseling. It's not a bad thing. And it took me a little while to find the person that has helped me. When my therapy started, it was pretty intense. It was a couple times a week. Sometimes I would have a session, and then I would need a session like a few hours later. And it was pretty intense. And I'm very thankful for that. And this person that I meet with has been kind of like a life coach and a mentor, and has completely calmed me down. Like, if you saw me 2.5 years ago as a firecracker, I mean, I'm always going to be a little bit of a firecracker, but I'm able now, through my therapy and through kind of retraining my brain, I'm able to kind of stop myself and analyze the situation before I react. In the past, I would just react initially, and I would say and do a lot of things that would, not sit well, or maybe cause a bigger situation with people. And that was some of the things that I needed to work on within myself. And when you get all that shit cleared up, and you sort through that, and you peel back all that stuff, you just feel so much better. You can rationalize. You look at things a lot clearer in life. Thankfully I never got into alcohol and drug addiction. I've seen people that have gotten buried by that, literally buried by it. And I can only imagine, if you have that to compound with maybe some mental health issues that are going on, it must be intensely hard to struggle and get through that. But there are ways to do it, and I encourage everybody, if you're going through something, fucking talk to someone, other than like a family member or a friend. Get a outside third party opinion, someone that doesn't know either side of the situation and just listens straight down the line and then gives you the feedback and the opinion, or just, the right tools to get through that situation. So, let's look here. It's been a while. Karen says sobriety is the best. Well, if you are sober, happy sobriety to you. Let's see. Nan says, I love your perspective. You are worthy. I admire you. I admire you too, Nan. You've been a very, very good friend of mine since I've met you. What is it? Over 2 years now, or close to 2 years. And it's been a pleasure knowing you. And, listen, I'm sorry for a lot of the bullshit that you've gone through, a lot of the unnecessary bullshit. And hopefully it's starting to kind of turn a little bit for you, and it's a fucking sick situation that you look at, that someone that just came on YouTube shows and gave their opinion and knowledge about a particular subject matter that we were talking about, and this turns into massive online attacks. Someone that doesn't deserve that. She doesn't deserve that, the shit that she's gone through. It's been brutal, but hopefully, that's starting to kind of turn the corner for you. Brenda, thank you so much. She says, your life is precious. I appreciate this. My therapist literally saved my life. I'm grateful. That's awesome to hear. It's very, very awesome to hear. Let's see. Karen says, oh my God, I'm so thankful you didn't make that choice. Don't ever let others take hostage of your spirit and your soul. I know it. I know it also. I know it was also a personal relationship. We've all been through that. Yeah, it just came to a certain point where it was like, my life is so much worth more than what a few fucking morons will say on the internet. Once I had someone to talk to about that and sort through that, it helped. And like I said, I just urge everybody, if you're in a situation like that, take a step back, find someone that you can talk to, and help you through that moment. And look, we're all still here, and that's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing. Let's see. Yeah, the studio was badass. And listen, it may happen again down the road. And you're welcome, Kristen. You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Karen, thanks for the $10 setting it off. I appreciate that. She said, sending out the text message that you're live if it's not too late. Send out that text message. Yeah, I can do that here. Let's see. Even if you're not sure if you're an alcoholic, go sit down at an AA meeting and just listen. It might help you figure things out. That's a good point too. And there's many of friends that I wish that I lost some friends due to alcohol and, carried up in addiction and drugs. And I've had friends that have, overdosed. A kid that I went to high school with that was in my shop class for 4 years. One of the quietest kids that you'd ever meet, this kid, Nick. And, a couple of years out of high school, he fucking died in his room in his bed with a needle in his arm and had been in there for 2 days and no one went and checked on him. And this is like, Nick was a heroin addict? Like, really? You wouldn't even think that. It was not even like that in high school. So you really don't ever know what people's struggles are and what they're going through mentally or physically or, and that just kind of ties back to my point with Daryl Sheets of Storage Wars. Massive bullying online. And I mean, he literally left a note. He just couldn't take it anymore. So, I just wish that people could take a look at, what they say, because you really don't know what people's mental state is at that time. They might be at the lowest of their life. And then you're out there and you're saying shit about their family and their kids, and you're posting photos of their families and, saying awful, disparaging things, or you're trying to call their work and get them fired or canceled or whatever the hell it is. You don't know that person might decide to do something bad to themselves. You don't know what, where people are at life. But again, if you need help, dial 988. Dial 988. Let's see. Yo-Yo says, one of my favorite Bible verses is there's safety in a multitude of counselors. It's so true. I like that. Heather says, my ex-boyfriend died from an OD. He was like 32. Damn. I'm sorry about that. Sorry for your loss. All right, let's get into some of this Charlie Kirk stuff. I have a presentation I want to pop up here. Let's pull this up. Put this together this afternoon, and then we'll play some videos here too. So we got, and thank you for listening. Kind of my opening monologue here, and we'll get into Charlie Kirk and back to the LTL show. And as things, start talking a little bit more here too about shit. Charlie Kirk murder case. All right, so we're gonna get into the background, the hearing status as of now. And again, we got left with a big cliffhanger today, the evidence against Tyler Robinson and the conspiracy theories that are out there, or the theories, conspiracy or theories, however you want to look at it. So let's take a look at the case snapshot. So the core allegations is this: Charlie Kirk was fatally shot on September 10th, 2025, while speaking at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Prosecutors charged Tyler James Robinson with aggravated murder and 6 other counts. The state is seeking the death penalty, arguing that the shooting endangered others and targeted Kirk before a political expression. The current phase is preliminary hearing. The judge decides whether enough evidence exists to proceed to trial. And that was the cliffhanger that I talked about today. Apparently you're going to meet again in September, and the judge is going to make his ultimate decision if it's going to go to trial. So we have 7 criminal charges. We have 1 preliminary hearing This week, we had a couple of them in the oral arguments before ruling on September 1st. So we go into just giving you some context. If you're just hearing about this case for the first time, so Turning Point USA organization, an outdoor campus event at the Utah Valley University. Kirk was seated under a canopy, taking questions about debating audience members. From what I remember, I think just before that, he was asked, and this is so crazy and frightening. He was literally asked, I think, about gun control or something that had about guns. Like literally right before that, I think that was a question out of the audience. And then you look at that and just such the horrible situation it is. A couple of minutes later, he's shot in the neck. Some people think that it's an exploding microphone. There's a lot of other theories that have been out there and kind of put out there. But anyway, charging documents say crowds surrounded him on three sides and children were visible near the event area. Authorities say the shot came from a rooftop roughly 160 yards away with a clear line towards Kirk's seat. And then you have, that kind of that visual to create this is a crowded open air setting. Elevated roof line equals why prosecution emphasized risk to others. And we hear a lot about that. Let's see. Mary said, even though the mic was in his hand. Yeah. Well, no, they're trying to say that he had this little lapel microphone on, and that was the one that exploded, or his chain had a thing in it and it blew up. It's just like, these theories are wild. All right, moving on here. So now we have the September 10th to September 16, 2025. Charging documents in the AP timeline align with central sequence. Campbell arrival, the rooftop movement, the single shot, the public manhunt, the surrender, and capital charges. So at 11:51 a.m., suspect seen on campus. At 12 p.m., Kirk began his speaking event. At 12:23 p.m., the shot was fired and Kirk was down. September 11th, photos released, family recognized suspect. Remember, it was like his own family that turned him in. At 9 p.m. that evening, Robinson surrenders, and then September 16th, formal charges were announced. Now we have the 7 counts. 1 count of aggravated murder, capital felony. Count 2 is a felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury. First-degree felony. Counts 3 and 4, obstruction of justice related to allegations, hiding of the gun in his clothing. Counts 5 and 6, witness tampering tied to alleged text directing his lover to delete messages to stay silent. And then we have count 7, violent offense in the presence of a child. The state is seeking the death penalty, and the victim, and that helps victim targeting enhancements. So moving along, the prosecution's theory is this: the route, the rooftop, and the rifle. So at the camp, he arrives. So let's see. I'm sorry. Robinson's movement is he arrives. We've now found out he's visited the campus before the event. He changes he's there in different clothing and then changes and returns. He goes to the roof. He climbs the railing and drops down. The shot is taken, prone position overlooking the event, and then he flees. And we've seen that video when he runs across the roof, and allegedly it's Tyler Robinson runs across that roof and goes down that ladder area and basically walks off, I think, to the north side of the building through the parking lot, from what I remember in the video. So he flees across the roof and exits off campus. Courtroom video testimony this week allegedly showed Robinson climbing onto the roof, moving to the firing position, and then running across the roof after the shot. Let's see. Defense response: attorneys objected to the video release as prejudicial and pressed questions about alternative evidence and scene handling. Now, moving along. Prosecution evidence: suspect's weapon was a bolt-action .30-06 rifle wrapped in a towel found near the escape path. Forensics charging document says DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle. filed casing in 2 unfired cartridges and towel. Just want to go this. Let's see this here. Love Heel says, please tell me you're not buying the official story. Well, do me a favor. Do me a favor. Write what your theory is or what you think is in the chat. I'd love to hear about it because there are a lot of alternative theories swarming around this. I know Candace Owens has been a hot topic on all of this as well too, but we want to hear from you. I mean, I'm encouraging you to write in the chat. There will be no shame. I just want to know what you think. A lot of people think that Robinson is a patsy. So is he a patsy? Let me know. I'm just going here off what I see. So the hearing update, DNA evidence was challenged by the defense. Testimony discussed limitations of the DNA transfer, mixed profiles, ballistics. The AP reports the defense questioned bullet fragment testing, and the ATF testimony described results as inconclusive rather than definitive. So you could have some issues there that the defense is going to raise because everything's not quite lining up as they think. Love Heel says Robinson is a patsy. Can you just give us a little bit more context to why you think Robinson's a patsy? I'd love to hear your theory. So let us know. All right, moving along here. So the digital evidence and alleged admissions. Note under the keyboard. We found out about that note under the keyboard. Prosecutors cite a photo of a note saying he had the opportunity to kill Kirk. We had the text exchange between him and his lover. Charging documents, quote, Robinson allegedly say, quote, I am, after his trans partner asked if he did it. And then we had the motive text. Prosecutors point to the alleged line, I had enough of his hatred, and that was a quote. And then we had the Discord message, and we heard a lot about that as well. The AP reports prosecutors presented an online acknowledgement before the surrender. Note, Judge Tony Graff allowed redaction portions of the interview, text evidence, while limiting parts that could be biased to potential jurors. And we're going to watch the interview here in a couple of minutes with Tyler Robinson's ex-lover. And we'll hear about that here in a minute. So the last hearing, Lance Twiggs, or Luna Twiggs, as we've heard that name, says, quote, he wishes that he hadn't done it. So this had come up in a conversation, and we heard about that, and we're going to hear about that in the questioning. And it's about a 22-minute video, and we'll watch that here in a second. Reuters and AP reported that the recorded interview with Robinson's former roommate and romantic trans partner, Luna Lance Twiggs, was played in court. Twiggs said Robinson, when I hear Twiggs, I just think of Twiggy from, what was it, the model Twiggy, or the other one, Twiggy Ramirez from Marilyn Manson. I don't know if you're a Manson fan, but the bass player, Twiggy, I just always laugh when I hear that name. Said Robinson admitted that the shooting to him, cried, expressed regret, and planned to turn himself in. Use of immunity for cooperation in the redaction ordered by the judge. And the defense position, clips risk to be treated as confessions and could taint the jury pool. Kirk family position, evidence should be public for transparency. And I've always said that as well. Be fucking transparent in these cases. I'm tired of it. We just went through the Carmelo Anthony case, and guess what we had to sit through? Nothing. No video feed, no courtroom photographs, no cameras, no interviews, nothing. We had to source all our information basically off X with the reporters that were allowed to be in there. I want full transparency in our justice systems. I get it. Judges put protection orders in place to protect the integrity of the rulings, the court, the case, what's going on. I just don't like it. I want things broadcast so we can see it for ourselves. This is why conspiracy theories start. This is why conspiracy theories happen, because we don't get to see it for our own eyes, analyze it, and make our own decisions. I want to just go back up and see if let's see. Okay. So Love Heel says involved, yes, but he didn't shoot anyone. Charlie Kirk was not shot. You got to explain a little bit more. Give us a little bit more. Why? Why do you think he wasn't shot? Who set this up? Who did this? Let us know, because it's just, that's a very, It's just a very blanket statement. You know, you got to give us a little bit more context. Why do you think that? Who do you think did it? Let us know. Let us know. Okay. Let's move on here. I love the audience participation. Thank you. Defense pressure points. So you have the DNA reliability. Finding DNA on the item does not automatically prove when or how it got there. Mixed DNA profiles were explored. We have to look at the ballistics. Bullet fragments testing was challenged. AP reports that the ATF testimony said results were inconclusive. You have the alternative possibilities. The defense suggested investigators did not fully chase potential evidence pointing elsewhere. And then you have the public publicity and fair trial. Defense object to the courtroom video and evidence released that could prejudice future jurors. And then now the motive framing. Defense disputes the state political motive theory and how religion and politics are being framed. This is not a verdict by any part. This is just a preliminary hearing to find out if this is going to go to trial. And in my opinion right now, I truly believe there is enough evidence to bring this to trial. Okay, so why the death penalty is on the table. The capital case theory, aggravated murder counts alleged that the shooting and knowing created a greater risk to the death of others besides Kirk and Robinson. Victim targeting enhanced alleged Kirk was selected because of Robinson's belief or participation regarding Kirk's political expression. And then you have the presence of a child on count. Aggravated fact alleges that children under 14 were visible at the event. What prosecution must do next? Clear probable cause theory threshold at the preliminary hearing, preserve admissibility and convest video statements, forensics and motive evidence, at trial, prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The penalty phase would be separate if convicted. So the bottom line is this: the death penalty exposure is not the same thing as conviction or sentence. Let's see. Yo-Yo says, I believe Charlie distanced himself with Candace. He was cordial, but cut ties with personal relationship. So moving on, the current hearing status and what's next. Now, that was this week-long preliminary hearing in Provo, Utah. Evidence presented publicly and partly redacted. On Friday, defense expected to call a final witness on the last day of the preliminary hearing, and that happened. And then both sides submitted written arguments on September 1st. Judge Tony Graff scheduled oral arguments, ruling expected after that. And then if the case proceeds towards arraignment, in trial track, death penalty litigation continues. So watch for admissibility rulings, whether the case is bound over trial, form of plea posture, penalty phase motions, and any other rulings on the public release of exhibits. So you're going to see a lot of that stuff happen here over the next, let's see, July, August, September, over the next like 2.5 months. Tons of motions coming in, tons of arguments. It'll be a fun-filled extravaganza, I guess. Conspiracy theories, though. The information vacuum after the shooting created room for false claims, wrong suspect claims. Remember that? Old photos, videos, false identification in misattribute social media posts. We see this a lot. People go, I know who it is. I know who did it. It's this person. It's that person. And they start posting. And then guess what? It's not that person. And that person had nothing to do with it. Foreign amplified narratives. The AP and Political reported Russia, China, and Ukraine linked amplification aimed at deepening U.S. divisions. And we had the Israel, Mossad, and Epstein claims. Anti-Semitic narratives tried to link the killing to Israel or Epstein-related storylines. Remember when those popped up, too? A little odd. Political identity claims, false claims that Robinson was registered Republican/Democrat DSA member, had donated to campaigns. We had the second shooter narrative. I haven't really heard much about that. Stage narrative, speculation grew around fragments, camera angles, crowd gestures, and early law enforcement confusion. And then the transgender shooter myth, claims blurred Robinson's identity with his partner identity and fueled broader anti-trans narratives. Look, I think the dude was just fucking mad and decided to do this. I mean, that's what I see so far. Just didn't agree with Kirk and wanted to handle it, I guess, allegedly in his own way. So that's why the way I'm leaning right now. So we have the online claim. Ballistics prove a different weapon. The AP testing on the bullet fragments was inconclusive, not exculpatory by itself. Quote, the roommate did it, scripted the text. No public charges against Twiggs. Prosecutors rely on his interview, text, and used immunity cooperation. Well, it's the biggest witness right now, so why not, right? And I bet you there was enough evidence there to charge, but to flip and go against Robinson, cleared, you get the immunity, and they get what they want. So I think that if the immunity wasn't there, there probably was enough in there to use to probably charge both of them. You know, maybe there was an alleged, conspiring. Foreign government, we heard about that. And then Robinson's political proof motive. We've heard those as well, too. So now the questions that we have to ask going in this trial is what? Does the surveillance evidence tell a complete route story? How strong is the DNA evidence? If transferred mixed profiles are argued, does the digital evidence look like confession, motive, or both? What parts should be public versus protected for a fair trial? Which conspiracy theories are already contradicted by filings and testimony? And what ruling on September 1st would change the trajectory? So we're separating. The prosecutor says the defense is challenging and what the internet is inventing. So this is the sources I use for my deck. And thank you, sources. I appreciate that. But that is my quick review and presentation on the Charlie Kirk murder, if you haven't been caught up on it. And that should get you kind of the basics 101. All right, let's get into some videos here. I want to play this video. Let's look at, so this is Brian Enton today. He finished up in
guys. So the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing is officially over. We're not going to get an official decision from the judge about whether he says that there's probable cause and the case will move forward. At this point, he said he was not going to rule today. He will rule at a later date. It's hard to imagine that there's not probable cause based on all of the evidence that we've seen over the last week, the surveillance video, the text messages, the confession, the Lance Twiggs testimony, which to me still very mysterious. And there was so much of it that was
Thank you, Karen.
cut out and redacted. I'm very curious what was said in those parts. And I saw a lot of questions about what Lance Twiggs knew and when. But both sides will reconvene for oral arguments on September 1st at 10 a.m. That'll be the next big hearing. And then we'll at some point get a ruling from the judge about how things proceed from here. So interesting week, and we'll see where things go. But I'll talk to you guys later.
Brian Enton's like one of the best, if not the best. His reporting is so good. All right, let's get into Twiggs. Let's watch the Twiggs and Berry video. All right, let's hear from the former lover. And this is pretty damning. There is a lot of damning information here that did not help out Robinson. All right, here we go. I'm going to turn up
use your
caps as well.
statement here instead of your testimony at a preliminary hearing.
Turn this.
Understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to place you under oath and also give you
big time
admonition about false statements. Okay. First, you do solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes.
I also need to notify you that you are notified that statements you are about to make may be presented to a magistrate or a judge in lieu of your sworn testimony at a preliminary examination. Any false statement?
Just want to remind everybody, I do have a super chat goal at the top. 5 super chats will get us there. I saw one come in from Karen. I really appreciate it. But if you want to donate to the channel, please feel free. You can hit that $sign down below. You can send a super chat. You can become a member. Or if you don't want to do it that way, I also have a link at the top of the chat, and you can send a Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. All right, let's get into this. And, I'm not going to be able to get into everything tonight, but I'm going to debrief all of this week because we do have some time. And this is kind of the one of the sticking points I wanted to get into tonight because this was very telling in this part of the preliminary hearings. And again, just like Yo-Yo was saying, I'm glad, that Lance is cooperating, and he is. He's singing like a canary. So here we go.
You make and that you do not believe to be true may subject you to criminal punishment as a Class A misdemeanor. You understand that?
Yes.
It potentially could be used as for punishment as a higher offense as obstruction of justice. In addition, I just want to make sure that our recording here is clear that you've also been given a federal agreement and a state agreement granting you immunity from prosecution for materials that you discussed.
There you go.
You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. Got the immunity. There it is.
First, we're going to cover some of the things that you've already talked about, but to make it as part of this record. First, what's your name?
Full name with middle name or just first and last?
First and last is fine.
Okay, my name is Lance Twiggs.
And do you know Tyler Robinson?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
And this is the same Tyler Robinson that's been charged with the shooting of Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
And would you say when you first met Tyler?
I think it was 2023. I've known him longer than that, though. That was, I think, the first time I met him in person.
Okay.
And will you describe your relationship with Tyler when you first met him anyway?
What is the echo?
When I first met him, I didn't know him super well. He was just a new roommate, so I knew he knew my friend group, and I knew he liked playing games, but that's about it when we first when he first moved in.
Okay. Before we go on, I realized my mic was muted at the outset. Was yours on, your microphone? Okay. I'm going to repeat those admonitions just to make sure we got it recorded. Okay, so again, I place you under oath.
I'm going to fast forward here. All right, here we go. Oh, of course.
When on September 10th?
Yes.
When you lived there with Tyler, were you in the same room? Did you live in the same room or different rooms?
No, separate rooms.
And at that time, let's say September of 2025, what were you doing with your life? Were you working, school?
I was working. I was doing like bathtub and shower repair and stuff in new construction.
Okay. How about Tyler?
I think he was both working. I think he was working for an electrician company then, and he was also in a trade school for being I don't know, higher ranking electrician. I'm not sure how the trade system works for that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he was both.
What was his typical work day like?
I think he'd leave around 7 generally and get back around 3 to 4, depending on where the job was and how long it was for the day. And then on certain days of the week during school, semesters, he would then later in the day, I think around 5 or 6, go to school. So yeah.
Okay. Let's jump to September 10th. Did he spend the night in the apartment the night of September 9th into September 10th?
Yeah, he did. Yes.
Do you know when he left the apartment on September 10th?
I don't know an exact time. I just know he left early. I heard him leaving, and he just said he had a long drive to work that day, so he was leaving early.
Okay, so early. Any guess as to what when that was?
I don't know. I would have thought it was 5 a.m. because that's when an early work day was for him, but it was probably more like 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna have him spit out his gum just to make sure that
I can do that.
your picture right in front of your laptop.
Here you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so what time did you get up on September 10th?
Probably like 12 to 1 p.m.
You didn't have to work that day.
No.
And did you hear from Tyler? Did he call or text you before then?
No, he sent that message in the group chat I mentioned, but he didn't message me directly at all that day.
Okay. When did you first hear from him on September 10th?
It was at 11 o'clock with that like automated message.
Okay, 11 p.m.
Yeah.
That's an error on the court. Speed up here.
To go hunting with his family. And he asked me
Remove
for
video?
if we had like a Dremel because he said he wanted to create messages on bullets. And I just told him where Dremel was and told him to make sure he doesn't like set off a bullet on accident in the house. But I didn't really think about it until then.
How long before September 10th was this that he asked about the Dremel?
I don't remember because he'd been talking about the hunting / camping trip for a couple months, but I don't.
I see some conversation here about full and partial. I think that just at this point, the severity of the case and to get as much information that they can from Twigs, I think they probably would offer full immunity at this point. I mean, this is pretty high profile murder. And if they have this guy, no pun intended, Tyler Robinson, dead to rights, you probably want to get as much information from the person that basically was the closest to him, during this entire time. So why not offer full immunity and get what you need to prosecute this person? All right, here we
I
go.
remember when he was specifically asking to
Video?
engrave the
Video.
bullets. So
are we talking like a year before?
Oh no, not that long. It would have been I'd say at most a month before this was when he was asking.
Okay.
No idea what's going on here.
Okay. Right. You talked about the note that he left. I want to bring this up, and I should say that these text messages that we've been looking at here are Bates number 54. Okay. The notes have been titled 16.3 with a note, and this is Bates number 58. Do you recognize that on the screen there?
Yeah.
What do you recognize it as?
That was the note under his keyboard that he was referring to in the first text of that chain.
Okay, so where did you find this?
On his desk underneath his computer keyboard.
And I assume you read it.
Yeah.
And then what did you do with it after you read it?
I believe I just put it back down on the desk after I took a picture of it.
Okay. And again, the time you read it was probably around 11 o'clock or so on the 10th.
Yes.
The night of September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And did you ever see that again after you placed it back on his desk?
No, I don't think I did.
And that was a desk in his bedroom?
Yes.
And that's a separate bedroom than your bedroom?
Yeah.
And now I want to go to what's been titled 16.2. And do you recognize this series of messages here?
Yeah, that was the server of his friend that I was mentioning.
Okay, and this is your phone again?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like this is like all redacted. That's why
And I
we're only
assume
getting
the reason
audio.
is because the big crack up at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a server.
They're
Is it
showing in
Discord?
Yeah, this
evidence.
is Discord.
And who are members of this server? I don't want names, just generally, who are these people? who are members of
This is his friend group. They played D&D together every week.
Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons.
And I just want to scroll through this to make sure that get a chance to take a look at it. Go to the next page.
Mm-hmm. Or yes.
So Tyler Icom, who's that?
That's Tyler Robinson.
These other people are just others that are members of the server.
Yes.
Jug, Barnaby, Marina, DM.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, like DM means Dungeon Master. So this is these are like most of them are names they're using in the game they're playing currently.
Got it. Yeah, it looks like the last text from Tyler looks like it's 8 p.m. And do you know what day this would have been? 8 p.m. on the 10th or the 11th?
I would think that would be the 11th. Because on at least I think so, because I don't think on the 10th that he messaged anyone before me at like 11. So.
And he turned himself in on the 11th, right?
I thought so, yeah.
So again, we're just going to go through this so that we have a record of the messages. Is that an accurate recording of that thread?
To my knowledge, yes.
And that was sent, looks like between September 10th and September 12th. Looks like the last day on this is September 12th. Screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right, so again, those messages covered from September 10th to the evening of September 11th. Now, September 11th, what time did you see Tyler on September 11th?
Yes.
When did you first see him on September 11th? So this is the day after the shooting.
Yeah, I saw him when I woke up. Like I said, he was up and around doing a lot of stuff around the house. And then I think I saw him after that message where I said I'll come home and say I'm doing laundry, because I didn't want him going to my parents' house right then when he said there was probably cops outside. So I went back home and it was just him there, and I said bye to him, and then he drove off. So I just went back to my parents' house.
Redacted. Jeez, man. Excellent video presentation.
So he acted erratically. Was he pacing? Was he just sitting down, relaxing?
No, he was walking around a lot.
And that's within the home.
Mm-hmm.
And did he talk about what he had done?
Didn't go into detail. I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. I started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it, and then kept going around and just doing stuff, I think, to keep himself busy or distracted or something.
Okay. Did he talk about what he was going to do next?
And then eventually said that he would talk to his parents or turn himself over.
God, they redacted a lot of shit, huh?
When you left, was that how you left, understanding that he was going to turn himself in or go to his parents' house?
Yeah, and I didn't really want to be at our apartment while any of that was happening, regardless of what went down.
Okay. Okay, before he came home, had you seen the press releases, any of the media on this?
I'd seen one Instagram link a friend of mine had sent in our group chat,
Okay.
but I hadn't really looked into it at all.
And had you seen the images that were released of the suspect?
I did the next day. I don't think I saw any on the 10th.
I'm going to show you a couple of those images.
That will be redacted. Oh, they're actually going to show it.
Okay, I'm on the FBI's website. You can see the URL there at the top. This is some press release about this event. And here on the screen, you see these, looks like there's 2 rows of 3 images.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize the person in these images?
I wouldn't say with 100% certainty just because of camera quality, but that looks like him in terms of the shoes he's wearing,
Oh,
the
boy.
sunglasses. I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually wearing a hat, and then jeans. So,
oh boy,
especially the bottom, the last 2 definitely do look like him.
Oh,
They do look like Tyler Robinson.
And you talked about that.
is that where people are getting the patsy from? You know, spinning up the theories. Let's see.
Your friends, right? This looks like him.
Yeah, his friends. Yeah, I don't know if I talked. I don't remember if I talked about it with any of my friends. And then since I didn't have my phone after that for a while, and I still am not using social media, I don't know on my friend's end.
Okay. All right, I want to back up a little bit now. We've talked about September 10th, but let me get a little bit of context here. So, did you game with Tyler?
Yeah.
What kind of games?
Played some just kind of party games together, like anything that would be multiplayer with a group of friends. There was one game he really liked called Sea of Thieves, where you play as like a pirate, and you can fight against people, but most of it's just like fishing, fighting sharks, skeletons kind of stuff. We played some co-op games where it's like you both have to work together to win in whatever way. Way back when I was just out of high school, when I first knew him online, we played some like shooting games together, but I didn't know him very well, so that was just when we had like a full friend group on to play, and he was someone that my friends invited.
Okay. Did you and he ever talk about politics?
He did more than me. I don't really keep up with politics very much. He'd usually talk about stuff he heard on the radio on his drive to work in like their work car, since it sounds like their whole crew went in the same car most of the time. But I wouldn't say super consistently, because it wasn't a topic I really contributed much on.
What about Charlie Kirk? Did you ever talk about Charlie Kirk?
I personally had never heard him talk about Charlie Kirk before specifically.
Okay. How about political issues? So did you ever talk about gender identity issues and LGBTQ rights?
No, not really. Usually if he did talk about politics stuff, it was relating to Trump or current like policies being like issued or voted on, I think. But yeah.
Redacted. Oh my God, this is terrible. What is going on?
Okay, so before that you had
Coming to the end.
For a short time, yes.
Okay. And I understand you're going by Luna at some point.
To some people, yeah, but not as an overall thing.
Oh my God.
Okay.
It's not good.
Okay.
So much redaction.
I think that's all the questions I have for this
Wasn't
portion.
much.
Let me check and see if I've missed anything.
Not that we're going to be able to hear it. Must have a lawyer in the room.
The Dremel that you talked about, you said he had asked for that, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And had he told you it was to inscribe bullets?
Yeah.
And so
That's
did you
not
have a
good.
Dremel then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in our, our apartment, we had a section where we kept all our random tools for household stuff, in our lower basement level pantry. So yeah.
Okay. And did you give that to him or tell him where it was?
I just told him where it was, yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording for the 1102 purposes.
Yeah, that's not good. That wasn't a good ending for Robinson. Let's listen to, let's see. I want to play this video. Yeah, let's play this video here. Megyn Kelly. Here we go. Let's listen to this. Maybe.
God.
Oh my God.
Tyler Robinson went back home. He returned to his apartment with Lance Twiggs the day after the murder. And they walked around together on 9/11 during the day and talked about what he'd done. Moreover, we heard, we'll get to all of this, but moreover, we heard far more about their text exchange than has been made public. The text exchange we know about because law enforcement identified it in their what's called a criminal information, the thing that brings charges. And we had been reading from that. We've read from it extensively on the show this week. This is the first we've heard some of the additional lines that were eliminated by ellipses in the criminal information. And they were interesting. They were telling in some instances, but we're getting a much more full picture of the exchange that they had, like States Exhibit 16.1, Wednesday at 11 p.m. When what happened was Tyler Robinson had a preset text, like an automated text that showed up on Lance Twiggs' phone that read, "Drop what you are doing, look under my keyboard." Oh, we're back. Stand by. I'll get back to you. Let's listen.
I'm on September 10th. And so at that point, Lance finds this is the letter he finds under that keyboard.
Okay, so to clarify, Mr. Twiggs gets a text from Mr. Robinson around 11 p.m. on September 10th, telling him to look under his keyboard.
Yes, correct.
And this is what Mr. Twiggs represented was underneath the keyboard.
Yes, yes.
How did law enforcement get this photograph?
So following Lance's first interview at St. George PD, his phone is recovered at that point, taken into evidence. It is downloaded, I believe it was the following day or shortly after that. The FBI transported that phone to the RCFL, which is the Regional Computer Forensic Laboratory in Salt Lake City. The phone was downloaded through Celebrite, And after that, following that download was complete, SBI received a flash drive containing that download. From there, it went to a SIAC analyst to go through that data of his phone to look for any pertinent evidence or information that may be on there. And at that point, that this image of this letter was located.
All right. I'm going to break down a few things. You mentioned, I just want to make sure the record's clear. You mentioned Celebrate a few times. What is Celebrate?
It's a downloading software that's commonly used by law enforcement. I don't do that myself, but it's commonly used to recover data, to download electronic devices, particularly cell phones.
And then you mentioned SIAC. What does that mean?
It's the Statewide Information Analysis Center. It's a division within DPS. It's a fusion center. They assist law enforcement with intelligence, various intelligence information for our investigations.
You mentioned that you don't personally do Celebrate phone extractions. Have you spoken to the law enforcement officers that performed the Celebrate extraction on Mr. Twiggs' phone in this case?
I don't believe I specifically talked to those individuals, RCFL, that did that. But they, yeah, that was then provided to SBI.
Did you speak with officers at SBI that have recovered this photo that we're seeing in State's Exhibit 16.3?
Yes, I have spoken with an SIAC analyst who particularly found this image. I've spoken to her personally as well.
Was Mr. Twiggs shown what's been marked as State's Exhibit 16.3 during his second interview?
Yes, he was.
And again, you were present for that?
Yes, I was there.
Is Exhibit 16.3 a fair and accurate representation of the photo law enforcement obtained from Mr. Twiggs' phone and that he was subsequently shown in the second interview?
Yes, it's fair and accurate.
Your Honor, the state would move to admit Exhibit 16.3 and then also publish pursuant to court order.
Mr. Novak.
Just noting the objections that have previously been made, and I think that the court's order is that it may be published in the courtroom only.
Thank you. Noting the standing objection by defense, 16.3, correct?
Correct.
Is admitted into evidence and may be published only in the courtroom and not be shown or videoed.
Once again, they've cut the mics inside the courtroom to have a discussion about, we don't know what. They're planning on publishing that exhibit inside the courtroom, but not beyond for now. But we know what it is, at least in part. It's the note. That
Nan says the phones always do. Yeah, I mean, we heard a lot about phones today on a Spaces. I heard a lot about phones on a Spaces today. And that's the thing, you know, the phone will always get you, you know, it'll always get you. It was the thing that was going to sink Brian Kohberger in all these cases. Alec Murdaugh, even though he's going to get a new trial, I still think there's enough evidence to sink him there. And even if he doesn't get convicted of that, he's got so much other problems that he'd be in prison for the rest of his life anyway. But it's true. Phones will get you, always get you. Look what it did with Rex Heuermann, the Long Island serial killer. They corded off all his burner phones and found out where he was. Even burner phones will get you. All right, moving on.
we're talking about, just as we toss back to the courtroom, that Tyler Robinson left for Lance Twiggs underneath Tyler Robinson's keyboard in his bedroom in the apartment that they shared on September 10th, 25, the day after Charlie was killed. The day Charlie was killed, Tyler had set the text message on his phone, the text messaging function, to deliver an automated message to Lance Twiggs that read, "Drop what you are doing and look under my keyboard." We know from the criminal information, even though they're not showing us what was under the keyboard, that there was a note. This is, I'm reading directly from the criminal information. The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it," end quote.
Oh, that's not
Police
good.
found a photograph of this note. You heard them talking about that in court just there. They found that photograph on Lance Twiggs' phone, thanks to this Celebrite technology. It was unclear to me whether that was still in his photographs as an easily retrievable photo or whether he had deleted the photo. And that's why they needed this technology, Celebrite, to find it. Did not hear testimony about that. And then the criminal information adds the following text exchange then took place. And then you heard the long and back and forth on it. Let's go back into the court.
How do you know that?
I've viewed the FBI's website, and I recall seeing these images released on September 11th.
Now, I'll answer that. So just asking, Brian, do you believe in any doubt about Brian Kohberger drives me crazy? Some people online still think he's innocent. Sorry, off the top. No, he totally committed the crime. He totally committed the crime. I think there was so much evidence that we were going to hear about that was going to link him to that house and in around that area. Go back and watch my streams about Bluetooth. Go watch the streams about Bluetooth, how we kind of cracked that wide open. I actually had a Bluetooth expert come on my channel and talk about that. And I think that Bluetooth evidence was going to nail him to that house. I think that in and around those 14 or 15 times that he was, kind of scouting out the house, we knew that he drove by 14 or 15 times pre-crime. And I actually think that he either came in close contact with devices in the house by either going up to the house itself or in and around the house. And what we had figured, commercial Bluetooth, what was it, 150 feet, which would be pretty close to where that house to the street was. So he might have created what's called a handshake to a Bluetooth device if you had his Bluetooth turned on. And what led us to my speculation about that was there was an interview that Stephen Christie Gonzalez did with, I think, one of the Idaho news organizations out there. And it was about an hour interview. And they had talked about, it had been, a couple of years now, or a year and a half or a year after Kaylee's murder, that the Moscow police had held on to a lot of items that were in that house that night, specifically a Bluetooth speaker that Kaylee Gonzalez had owned. And my theory was, why would they hang on to that for so long? Well, they probably did a deep forensic dive into that Bluetooth speaker. And, you can see what was logging, in those devices. And just if people don't know, when you have an iPhone or an Android phone and you have Bluetooth turned on, basically what's happening, and you can even look in this in your settings, just go to your Bluetooth right now, turn it on and look at the devices that it's trying to connect with right now. Basically what Bluetooth does is it sends out a very low wave radio frequency out to a device that may have Bluetooth capability. And it's trying to do what they call create a handshake, a connection. Hey, do you have Bluetooth? I want to hang out. Let's connect and let's shake hands. Let's connect. And that's what this does. And if you notice, it does it a lot with Wi-Fi too. A default setting on Wi-Fi, it's always trying to ping off everybody's Wi-Fi and connect. Well, Bluetooth works in that same way too. And what I think happened is Kohberger got either so close to that house or had the balls enough to go up to the back of the house at some point, had his Bluetooth probably turned on, and it made a handshake with Kaylee's device, that Bluetooth speaker. And that's why I think they held on it for so long. And that's what came to my theory. And the funny thing about it, if you go back and you look, and I broke this down in that live stream, if you go back and look in August, just before the 4 students were killed, there was a noise complaint sent out to that house. And there was some body cam footage that had got released. And in the body cam footage, you watch the officer walk up to that backsliding door window and look in, and he goes, "Oh, there's the speaker right there." And I'm wondering if that's Kaylee's speaker, because it was right inside that slider. And if it was there, maybe the night that Kohberger did this, or preemptively was scouting the area, came so close to that speaker and it made a handshake. And that's what I think. And that's my theory on it. And you can go, I think you just type in Idaho 4 on my channel in the search bar and put Bluetooth in. I did quite a few streams about it. So that's my theory on it. And I think there's a lot of strong evidence just even beside that. I mean, the DNA on the knife sheath, I think that's pretty damning as well. And just a lot of other things too. I mean, the cast information alone too was a plethora of information about Kohberger. I think that was going to nail him down in that area too. All right, let's get back to Charlie Kirk. But great question. Thanks for asking. And hopefully I gave you something to kind of mull over. And if you want to see those streams, you can just go to my homepage, go to the search bar, type in Idaho 4 Bluetooth, and it'll bring up all those videos for you. So
does States Exhibit 16.4, is that a fair and accurate representation of what you reviewed from the FBI and that the FBI released?
Yes, it is.
The state moves to admit Exhibit 16.4 and publish according to court order.
Mr. Novak.
No further objections. Thank you.
Right.
Oh, thank you, Nan. And I'll also add this too. Who was the first YouTuber, and you can go and look because no one figured it out until I did. Who was the first YouTuber during the Idaho 4 case, even months before the evidence and the transcripts were released? Who was the first YouTuber to figure out that Dylan and now the other name's gonna Dylan Mortensen and the other roommate that lived, and they're sliding my name because it was my brain because I haven't thought about this case in a while. Who was the first person to figure out they were texting on the night of everything happened? Hey, what's going on? What's going on upstairs? Thank you, Bethany Funk. Thank you. I figured that out. No one had figured out that theory because it was just right there in front of us the whole time in the charging document. And what I'm getting at is there's a part in the document, the charging document said, because they were trying to figure out what time the murders actually happened. And it said, based off the extraction of the two roommates, we conclude that the murders happened between, whatever, such and such time. And I went, they were texting. They had timestamps. Hey, what's going on up there? Hey, I heard something. You guys okay? And guess what? It came out. The text extractions. And they were texting during the whole event. But anyway, Kohberger talk during Charlie Kirk. Good stuff. I like talking about that. That was a case that really blew open my my channel. That was a very interesting case to follow. I love the puzzle solving complexity to that because we didn't have a lot of evidence. We didn't have a lot of information, and we had to theorize and come off theories. And I used a lot of factual things. I didn't get fucking crazy with that. Some of the theories that were coming out, oh, it's the fraternity, it's a killer, it was a drug addict, it was a murderer, the mother was involved. I didn't go there. I just followed the facts and the information and the evidence. But yeah, that was a very interesting case and a lot to do around that and look into. All right, here we go.
Noting the standing objection by defense.
Yeah, the tunnels under the house, right?
Objection. States Exhibit 16.4 is admitted into evidence and may be published in the courtroom.
And again, in the Discord.
Ugh, I hate this fucking redactions and cut microphones and just let us hear it.
Okay, once again, they argue. And then they pop back up. I guess they're arguing. I mean, just when they identify the exhibits, I guess
Right.
they don't want us to hear what they're identifying.
Stupid.
I'm guessing from what we heard at the tail end there, we know that 16.1 was, I believe, text messages. 16.2 was the Discord messages. Wait, 16.1. Yes, 16.1 was the text messages. You're joking, right? And then we heard Tyler add, "Fuck, I tried to delete that." That's new. That's new. That was not in the criminal information as something Tyler said. But so he texted him, "Look under my keyboard." He looked under the keyboard. Then he responds to Tyler saying, and he reads, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it." Then he texts to Charlie, "What?" with multiple exclamation or question marks. "You're joking, right?" And what we now know is Robinson responded, "Fuck, I tried to delete that."
There you go.
Very interesting.
Let's see. MM, thanks for the 5.
So I
Well,
guess
thank you for being here.
Tyler had sent this automated message. It's kind of interesting. And if Tyler's telling the truth that he tried to delete that text to Lance, then Tyler was taken aback by Lance's text, which must have come out of the blue in a way to him at, 10 p.m. that night, saying, "What? You're joking, right?" And Tyler's first response was, "F, I tried to delete that." And then they were off to the races with Tyler. There was a lot more in the actual text exchange than there was in the criminal information. And we have the screen grabs from the actual texts, which we will go through. I can't do that live on the air with you right now, but you heard them. Lot more details about why are they parked there? The crickets are loud. Does anyone else know? Not to my knowledge. That was the first we heard all of those details. And then Tyler telling Lance, "Delete this exchange." Also so interesting. Did he? Again, I don't know if they got that text exchange off of Lance's text message records like we all have on our phones, or thanks to that Crime Bright technology.
All right, let's see here. It says 7 p.m. That still work for you? Yup. This is Tyler. I love you. Love you too. Hope work's going well. And then Wednesday, I love you. Ma. I love you. What the hell does this say? Morsies. Ma. Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. So that's Tyler. And then what? You're joking, right? Fuck, I tried to delete that. So there you go.
That retreats it. Here's one we're showing. Can you text it to me,
It's
Steve,
just
so I can see it up
right.
close? I can't read the monitor from where I am. So yeah, unclear to
heard
me
that
whether
too.
Tyler actually Lance had deleted all of this and they just recovered it, or whether it was still on his phone. Either way, the efforts to cover it up by delete this exchange did not work. It's all there. For the first time, we're actually seeing the back and forth with like the text message. Here it is. Reading here, 7 p.m. Does that still work for you? Wait, hold on a second. Well, this is before the shooting, I guess. I'm trying to read it on my phone. I love you. Moi. I love you more. So much. So moi. They're doing the kissy sounds. These are, okay. That's actually quite interesting. This is the lead up to his automated text alerting Lance that he's killed Charlie.
Jeez.
And they talk. So you get a feel a little bit for how these two talk. This is earlier. I can't tell the date, but it's prior to the murder. A day. I can see it's maybe the Sunday prior to the Wednesday murder. 7 p.m. Does that still work for you? Yup. I love you. That's Monday. It's blurry, but I think I can read that it's Monday at 1:15. I love you. Writes, I think, Tyler.
No, it's more.
Yeah. Lance responds, "Love you too. Hope work's going well." Then Wednesday. Well, Wednesday, that was the day of the murder, and it's 4:33 p.m. Oh, that's fascinating. And Wednesday, 4:33 p.m., Tyler texts Lance, "Love you, mwah, like MWAH," typed out twice. And Tyler responds, Lance responds, "I love you,
Morsies.
Morsies." Moi, moi, moi. I mean, okay. Then that same day, Wednesday at 11 p.m., comes in from Tyler. Drop what you are doing. Look under my keyboard. And Lance responds, "What?" with the question marks. "You're joking, right?" And then, fuck, I tried to delete that. Very interesting. And we're getting more. But truly, the most interesting thing to me that we've heard in all of this is that Tyler went back home on September 11th, the day after the murder. That Lance said, "I saw him when I woke up. He was walking around the house. I went home and it was just Tyler there. I said goodbye to him and I went back to my parents' house." The prosecutor was asking if he was acting erratically, which Lance had apparently signed on to, and then said, yes, he was pacing around a lot. Lance said he didn't go into detail about what he had done, but I asked him if what he said the night before was true, and he said yes. He cried and said he wished he hadn't done it. Thanks for watching this clip.
Interesting. It's going to play out, The remorse, is it fake? Was it canned? I don't know. All right, let's look at some of the fireworks that happened today in court, the ending of court today. Let's hear this heated argument that happened in court today, and we'll end with this tonight. I want to thank everybody for being here. Like I said, it's been a while since I've been, since I've streamed, and I still care very much about this channel and the capability and things that we can do here. And I appreciate the audience coming in tonight and watching. It's just finding our way through the path of life, and talking about these cases of interest, and still trying to shine a good light on the things that I can help here and do on my channel. And I appreciate you all coming in and actually wanting to hear content and hear about these cases through the lens of my eyes and my voice. And I love the contributions, and I love when people chat and talk in our chat room. We have a great chat here. And I know that every subject is not going to land for some people, but we're here and we're going to do it. We're going to continue to do it. And I love being here with all of you. This is my escape from, I guess, reality sometimes, if you want to look at it that way. From my regular life, I can come online and spend some time with all of you, all you beautiful people that come to, this platform and hang out here and want to hear about this stuff. So we'll play through this. There was a heated argument, I guess, some evidence that got leaked in court today over the live stream. This should be pretty good. And then I want to do just a following case update before I leave, and some upcoming things that we should be paying attention to as well. But let's hear this, and then we'll get into that, and then we'll wrap this up tonight. Thanks again, everybody, being here. If you want to contribute to the channel and support me, you can hit that $sign at the bottom, send a super chat, or become a member. Also have a link at the top of the chat too, that you can contribute Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App too. So I forgot the moi moi. Yeah, I love you, Morzies. Moi 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 moi. Yeah, we forgot the moi moi. All right. Karen says, always, Brian, love your lives. You're the best content creator on YouTube. I don't know if I'm the best, but I try to do best. And that's very sweet that you said that. Melanie's my other favorite, but that's for reading court documents. Yeah, sure. I mean, whatever you find solace in any of the channels that you want to watch and agree with, I don't tell anybody to not watch anybody. Unlike, the attacks that happen on my channel where, there were times that we had 900, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 people in here. And then people got apparently jealous or angry that my channel was doing well, and decided to tell people to not watch me. And then, when you're in a cult, you're supposed to follow and believe that, Brian bad, don't watch. Okay, master, and they follow, but it's okay. This channel has been an up and down. It's had resurgence. It's had drawbacks. I will not give up, and we're holding steady. We're holding steady through all this. And I just love doing it. I love puzzle solving. I don't care. I've always said from day one, I don't care if one person watch me or a million people watch me. I love doing this. It's very interesting to me, and it's good to exercise your brain on a lot of things that we don't exercise our brains on. And I love how cases come together. I love how evidence collection is. I love seeing how we can lay it all out with our eyes and then theorize about it and talk about and speculate and whatever. It gives us the freedom to do that. And it's interesting. It's interesting to me anyway. All right, let's listen to this fiery argument in court today at the end of court. Here we go.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think at the outset, it's important to recognize that everyone's doing their best here. The court is, I know the clerks are, I think the media is, we certainly are, and the defense is. This issue came up in the context of an examination of a witness. One exhibit was published before the exhibit at issue was also brought onto the screen. I explained what we were going to do, and then the exhibit was brought onto the screen. I reviewed the video last night. The camera was captured this for approximately 2 seconds. The camera operator, I think, acting in diligence and appropriateness, immediately panned as soon as she realized that there was a new exhibit on the screen. The court took it down. As soon as they realized that an exhibit was on the screen, I immediately instructed my paralegal to take it down, and it was. Defense, I think everyone involved here made quick and appropriate efforts as soon as they realized a mistake had been made to remedy and mitigate that issue. As I explained what I was what we were going to do, defense counsel did not object as that happened. And the reason I bring that up is because of the requirement for timely objections. Moreover, I do want to say this exhibit was read into the record. It was allowed to be read into the record earlier. It is also in an earlier pleading, which is the information. This portion of that exhibit, I understand, is in the information. And it is largely cumulative of Exhibit 16 and 16.1, which were previously admitted into evidence and published to the media. Finally, we are going to be dealing with a lot of publicity when it comes to media coverage. And I think that's really where the remedy is going to be addressed.
Look at the judge.
I understand there may be a remedy that can be fashioned today to prevent this kind of.
Look at the judge. He's just like, fuck this. He just got that look like, he's like, fuck off, 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 fuck off.
Kind of thing going forward or going on in the future in this hearing. But I think ultimately that's where this will be addressed. Any other questions from me, Your Honor?
Well, not at this time. I will afford you the opportunity, obviously, to respond when defense comes back. I want to weigh this and taking in consideration, and I find your representations to be accurate as to what occurred. I believe that I noticed it and asked for it to be taken down because I have a live stream on my screen for that very purpose. And the sequence, I believe I made note, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. It's been a long 4 past days, but that's the only addition that I find to the representation. And certainly, Mr. Novak, feel free to correct it if you believe the sequence was any different. I just want to make sure a clear record is being made of what happened in order for whatever happens next to be appropriate and proportional to the actions that occurred.
No, and that's consistent with my memory. And I also reviewed the video, the live stream as well in preparation for this issue today. So that's exactly what I think happened. From my perspective, examining the witness, I did not have a view of what was being published to the public and the media. And so I think the court immediately, as soon as it recognized that, brought that to everyone's attention.
Thank you, Mr. McBride. To the media.
Oh, here we go.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak on behalf of the media. I think our understanding of what happened is consistent with what both the defense and the state have said here. So I don't want to belabor that point. But here's how I understand it. There's two exhibits at issue. Those exhibits were used yesterday in part because the juxtaposition of those two exhibits might have provided some sort of benefit to the court. The first of those exhibits was asked to be published through all three of the court's phases. The court said it will be admitted into evidence, be shown in the courtroom, will not be shown on the cameras. That happened about 3 hours into the hearing. That all went smoothly and well. That operated exactly as it is intended to. That requires the participation of everyone, the court, the defense, the state, media, camera operator, all to do that well. Later in the day, when in the video I reviewed, this was about 5 hours into the runtime yesterday. The second exhibit that was going to be compared side by side was introduced. That also went through that three-step process. In that case, the court said that that could be admitted into evidence, shown to the court, and then also shown on the cameras. So it was put on the courtroom cameras. At that point, there was what I think is a useful practice by the camera operator to wait a beat, because sometimes mistakes do happen, right? In that case, though, that was authorized. So the camera then panned to the screen, which is set up specifically for the camera operator to be able to capture that. Examination on that exhibit.
Yo-Yo says, honestly, I missed the judge from the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Oh, the judge that, don't you get brazen with me, don't you know? Yeah, that judge was pretty badass. He wasn't taking shit from anybody. Don't you get brazen with me. He was pissed.
Began.
I don't think this is as fiery as I thought it was gonna be here. It's a fiery, heated fight over live stream. I haven't heard anybody get heated at all yet. Let's go. Turn up the energy here.
Then, because the examination seemed to call for that juxtaposition, without much warning for anyone involved, the previous exhibit that was intended to be juxtaposed was placed on the screen. From, I think, a observer's view who didn't know where the testimony was going without warning. The camera operator, I think quite astutely, within seconds, recognized this is a different exhibit, and recalling the court's prior order, recognized I should pan off, and did within seconds. I think at the time that was happening, the court also caught that and said, let's not do that. Now, and that was the end of it. I think the 2 seconds is about right. I don't want to minimize that. I understand the point that Mr. Novak is making. We are operating in some ways on high wire, and we are trying to place as many nets as we can, and all the parties are working together to try to do that. But in the age in which we live, one of the challenges is that sometimes when something like that is placed on a live screen, someone can screenshot it, and like Mr. Novak said, if they want to put that for sale on the internet, then they can.
For sale.
That's why working together to ensure that even small mistakes like that don't happen is critical. And the media has the media coalition that are given the opportunity and the benefit of being able to be here to run cameras and to take photographs have complete buy-in on that point. There are, of course, people out there watching a live stream that are not part of our coalition that we can't control. And that's why it's so important that we get these pieces right. I do want, without going too far into the evidence, to note not only that several lines of this exhibit are available publicly in the information, but that the full text, every word of that exhibit is contained in a search warrant, in this case, that was initially filed on September 17th. This is in the 4th District, but in a different court. Was held for 6 months, as search warrants often are. But then on March 16th, March 17th, was released in full. On page 7 of that search warrant is the full text of this exhibit. I don't want to suggest that anybody gets the right to say, well, I think it's public. The court has said don't show it in the screen. But since I think it is, we'll just come back later on and tell the court it's not a big deal because it's already public. That's not how it works. If we say we think it's in the public, the court says, I understand that, but I'm going to make an order. That order should be adhered to. But I do, for the purposes of prejudice, for potential remedy, for the court's concern and the court's sleepless nights, I do want the court to know that as well. And members of our coalition have pointed out to me as we've talked about this, while we take this very seriously, it is true in this case that the full text of that, not the image of the exhibit itself, but the full text is already in the public sphere, has been reported on, and is out there. I only want to reinforce, to close, the recognition that the media, our coalition, I, as an attorney for that coalition, have an obligation to make sure that mistakes don't get made. And in this case, even though I believe that the camera operator didn't act in violation of the court's decorum order, didn't do something that was forbidden by that there was an order that said, don't publish this exhibit. And because it flashed on the screen when the camera operator was filming that screen, that did happen. The media is fully bought in. I, as one of the attorneys, and the other attorneys for the media coalition, are fully bought in on a goal to make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen. Of course, I understand Mr. Novak and the defense's need to make a record and make an objection. And I also recognize and appreciate and understand the court's role in trying to make sure it imposes whatever sort of direction, caution, sanction, response that it believes is needed to make sure that its order.
I don't know what's going on my camera, but something's malfunctioning. And I just hope it's not my battery, because I've had this issue before. Oh, hang on. See if I can get this back. If not, I might have to. What's going on with my battery? There we go. What's going on? Why is it shutting down? Shouldn't be getting warm. Sorry, everybody. It's almost over. This is not even a heated exchange. It's a heated fight over live streams. It's a fucking heated fight. What are you talking about?
Recognized and adhered to. And I want the court to know that we will understand that and will comply with whatever it is that the court orders.
Thank you. Anything further before we break? Mr. Novak?
We don't need a break.
Okay. Well,
The court wants a break.
I want to review this. I'm sure there is a stream out there. I want to look at it again in order to appreciate the full effect and exposure. I remember it, but given the nature of this and trying to weigh the constitutional rights of all parties, I want to be thorough and look at it exactly.
Oh boy.
So as we move forward, as I evaluate what's being requested by the parties, that I am at the level of knowledge and because for what it is, it was on screen. I want to look at it, how long, what exactly was on screen, and in order to be at the point of saying, okay, I fully understand. I mean, I was here, I saw it, I noticed it on the screen, but again, I want to take that extra 2 minutes to review that.
I'm not suggesting that we rush through this at all. I just wanted the court to understand that our request for the remedy and the sanction, we are prepared to share that with the court, but we can certainly wait until the court has had an opportunity to review whatever the court thinks it needs to review. The permanence of this violation of the court order is a different issue.
I think I've had enough of this. It's not really fiery like it said it was going to be fiery. So let's end with this. I got a couple of things here real quick. There's still a ton to go through in this, and I knew I was going to be able to tackle everything. Let's end with, well, I got a couple of things here. I want to show you something that I'm currently working on. So, and just make sure I'm completely redacted here. So my last name is not put out there, even though fucking assholes have done that. I want to share this with you guys. So I was sitting here the other day thinking about something, and I said, I do a lot of these public records requests, and I wanted to look at I wanted to see if my friend's file was available. If you don't know and you're new to my channel, my best friend was murdered on January 30th, 1994. I've done a live stream about it on my channel. I go through all of the news articles and kind of paste it together and make a presentation. Well, put it together, not paste it. Put it together in like a Canvas presentation, and we go through his case. And I wanted to see if his file was actually available. I didn't know what the requirements were about homicide cases in Massachusetts. Would his file be thrown out? Would it be gone? Apparently, they still have it. They have his file. So I did a public records request, and I requested basically everything that I could about his file, and they came back and basically told me it would be $275. I'm going to pay that. And I did. I sent the check out today. So I love this. It's always you get 4 free hours, which is ridiculous. I mean, I've done public records requests in the past and had hundreds of files thrown at me, never been charged, but they wanted to charge me $275. So through the power of my YouTube channel, I have that money to put out there and get this case file. So I made out the check today. I sent it, and it said it's going to approximately take 15 hours of staff time to be required to locate, review, and redact responsive record. Why do you need to redact anything at this fucking point? Okay, why do you need to redact it? This was back in 1994. The case essentially is solved at this point. Just fucking give me the records. Homicide investigations typically generate a substantial volume of records and must be individually reviewed to determine responsiveness, ensure exempt information is properly redacted. We fucking know who killed him, motherfucker. It went to court. We know the names. If you're going to fucking redact the names, it's ridiculous at this point. We know that, they both went to trial. One of them got about 8 months. The other one, the DA fumbled the fucking case, and the other kid walked. Okay, so there's that. But I want to know everything about the file. So again, I paid the $275 today. I sent the check out. I'm anticipating getting this and looking through it and going over it on my channel. It's a very important stream to me, personally to me. And I want to see how that case was initially handled. I want to see the evidence. I want to see how they came to determination that it was these two individuals. Ultimately, they ended up confessing to it. But I want to see what roadmap took them there. And this is going to be, a tough case to go through, but it's going to be very eye-opening and sobering for me to go through it. But there's that. Let's end with something fun. Let's end with some crazy eyes. This is an old video, but I love this. I love First Amendment auditors, and this video is just great. Let's check this out. Let's end with a little comedy tonight. Watch how cray-cray this lady is. I gotta just turn the music off. Look at this lady. Nope, don't film. Watch this.
Hi, good. How you doing?
Good. Can I ask you to stop, please?
Stop?
Yes, please.
Who are you?
I'm Leanne Ortega.
You're Leanne Ortega?
Hi.
Yes, nice to meet you.
And you are?
Oh, I would like to remain anonymous right now.
Okay.
So what was going on? You want me to stop recording?
Well, I'm just wondering, why are you recording? And
Oh, why I'm recording?
yeah.
I'm just taking pictures in public, that's all.
Okay. Are you here for your appointment, or how can we help?
I'm not on probation.
Oh, okay. So I would not like to be recorded.
But you came up to me and started talking to me, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be recorded. Don't come up and start a conversation with the guy recording.
Okay. I'm not sure if anybody here in our lobby would like to be recorded.
And I've actually, I can record them, but I'm not going to record them because they're just here for probation. I'm recording the public employees, which is you guys that you're paid by tax dollars. These individuals pay your salary. So I'm not going to record them. It's not against the law for me to do that, but out of respect for them, I'm not going to. But
I'm asking you not to record me.
Oh, you are? You're asking me?
I am asking you not to record me, please.
All right.
Okay.
Can I ask you something?
Go right ahead.
Can I get $5?
I can't pay you.
You can't pay me? Okay.
So
I
I'm going to
can't.
ask.
I can't stop recording. So I kind of have like this policy that anyone that I talk to that like asks me for random things, you know what I mean? That I just ask them for $5. It's kind of like my little thing.
Okay.
So
I'm going to ask you to stop recording me. If you're not here for an appointment,
what's going on?
Then what?
You're not here for an appointment. I'm going to.
Okay. Well, but I mean, this is open to the public. I'm here for business. So
Please call security, please.
yeah, I came in here. I wanted to check out your area. I was going to grab one of these pamphlets.
Yeah.
for my viewers, to see what stuff you guys offer. I was noticing the court care thing. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna highlight that in my story.
That's wonderful.
But see, I'm just walking around in the public accessible areas. I'm not going behind your area, right? So I mean, I have a constitutional right to do this.
Absolutely. We can get you other pamphlets too if you'd like.
So I do
Any
have-
other resources? We can.
I'm just gonna pause. I think my battery is shit. So in my camera, we got to use like a constant battery. It hooks up just to a power supply. I think that's shit in the bed. That's why my camera's going out. I'm gonna have to order a new one tonight. But I have to admit, she's hot. She's crazy as fuck, but she's hot.
Provide you with that too. If you'd like to get any other resources, we can help you with that.
So you said absolutely. So I do have a constitutional right to come in here and
Well, no, I'm saying if you want to get any other resources, we can provide you with that resources if you'd like.
I would love to hear about the resources you have, but you told me that you're going to ask me to stop recording, and then when I said I'm not going to do that, you said you're going to get security over here.
I'm asking you not to record me.
Yeah, but you're out here talking to me, man. So if you don't want to be recorded, why don't you go back to your office?
Thank you.
And you shouldn't initiate force. What you're doing is you're initiating violence, ma'am. You're trying to get security to come up and use force and coercion to remove me out of here when I'm engaged in a constitutionally protected activity, ma'am.
Hello. Hi. Hi. This gentleman, I've asked him to stop recording me and others in our lobby, and he's not here for an appointment.
Yes, he's in a public area. I think he has a right to.
Okay.
He's allowed to record. I think we just talked a few minutes ago.
Okay, so he's okay to just sit and record everybody and everything.
It's a public space.
All right.
Has to have a key or a lock or a key card on it to restrict access. I think he's aware of that. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Everybody else doing okay?
Yeah, and everybody else, and so he'll just ask like other clients if they want to be recorded, and that's everything.
No.
Everything's okay.
Yeah, it's a public area.
Sounds wonderful. I just want to make sure we were okay to do that and get everything. Okay.
We're all screwed away.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Is there anything else I can help you with, sir?
So you got a little education then, so you understand.
I did. Yeah, I just want to make sure everything's okay.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Any other resources I can help you with?
No, just as those, the pamphlet was the only thing.
Okay, court care.
Look at this. We got a whole bunch of them here, guys.
No, I was just making sure that we're okay. And I just asked you to stop recording me. That was it.
We just had heard an alarm, so we just came to check it out. But if you're
alarm
good.
back there. Okay.
Oh, you guys pushed the alarm on me?
No, there's not on you, sir.
Like, no,
I think there's a alarm back there. Sorry.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not related to me at all, huh?
I'm not sure. So,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, ma'am.
I will look for a court care in English version for you, and I can get that for you. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Oh, and when you come back out,
Yes.
you said you're going to give me your business card.
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I dated a girl that looked like this not too long ago. I swear to God. I dated a girl that looked like this not too long ago.
Hey.
Here's my
Okay,
card.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
So we're good then? So I can come in here and record, right?
As far as I know, that's what the
Okay.
deputy said.
All right. Yep.
And I think just out of respect, I asked you several times not to record me. But
Exactly. And I understand that some people don't like to be recorded, but you work for the public, right? And pay the tax dollars. So we're able to hold our government accountable, right? There's case law on that. Like you can, there's states that we're allowed to record public officials in the course of their duties, right? There's also CATS v. US, which states there's no expectation of privacy in public. If you don't want to be recorded, the only way to get around that is to work in the private sector.
have a nice night. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Oh, I love it. And I love you guys. So fun, right? Fun. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Friday night. I might do a stream tomorrow. I know there's been some updates in the Carmelo Anthony case. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. If not, maybe Sunday. And we're going to dig more into this Charlie Kirk stuff too. There's a lot to go through that happened over the last in a weird way. She kind of looks like me. She kind of does. I dated a girl that looked like that. Nan knows who I'm talking about. But anyway. All right, I'm gonna head out, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. My members, my subscribers, my moderators, thank you all for being here. Look, we're still here. I'm not going anywhere. We'll continue to fight and continue to push on. I love all you guys. I hope you'll come back maybe tomorrow night or Sunday. Look out. I know there's some updates in the Carmelo Anthony case. And I still want to continue to get through Charlie Kirk as well, too. So everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe and hit the upvote button. I would appreciate it. All right, I'm out of here. Good night.